6.5 crore, or let's forget about 7.5, at least Indians, if Indians start contributing, this is what? A fraction of total Gujarati speakers? Don't know, there must be many Gujarati speakers here because Mumbai has a large population of Gujaratis. Are there anybody who speaks Gujarati? Oh, at least few. So, and do you write in Gujarati? Or do you read in Gujarati? Okay, I won't ask you write. Do you read in Gujarati? Good. So if you read in Gujarati, you can now write in Gujarati. Yeah? So you should expect a welcome message from me tomorrow, and I would expect you to see there, and me sending you welcome message tomorrow on Gujarati Wikipedia. Or why tomorrow? Tonight. Thank you. Thank you. I'll count on you. Yeah. So with this.
Thank you. Yes. Now our next language is Hindi, but unfortunately I haven't got any volunteers from Hindi Wikipedia. That itself shows the community activity there, but a user from Hindi Wikipedia sent me the slide and asked me to present that slide before you, me representing the community. So I am doing for Hindi Wiki community. Hindi Wiki community. This is the current statistics of Hindi Wiki community, which is just showing the page views per month is close to 85 lakhs. Article count is close to 1 lakh. New articles per day, 11. Edits per month, it is close to 1 lakh. But when you come to next important parameter, active editors, there you can see that he is not doing good. Very active editors is just 14. But when you see the number of speakers, it is close to 55 crore. That itself is showing the state of Hindi Wikipedia, where it can grow and what is its current state. So out of 55 crore speakers, we just have 56 Hindi native speakers contributing to Hindi Wikipedia. That is, I should say 0.001% of the total number of speakers. Average edits per page is 5, and registered users, see 56,000 people registered in Hindi Wikipedia, but out of which only 56 people are editing. So that is current state of Hindi Wikipedia, and I request all of those speakers whose native language is Hindi to come and visit Hindi Wikipedia and please contribute to it. So the community activism and the wiki projects that they can do in Hindi Wikipedia and the current state of Hindi Wikipedia will be changed in the near future. So these are the future plans. Transfer all the existing images from Hindi Wikipedia to Wikimedia Commons. Organizing editing workshop for Hindi speakers. Many other Indic Wikipedias are already in touch with Hindi Wikipedians to conduct wiki workshops for Hindi. Then adding more editors and increase the number of administrators, of course, because Hindi is the biggest community. And we all hope by this year, next time, we will have at least 1,000 users active in Hindi Wikipedia. Thanks. Thank you. Next, I am calling Mr. Swaroop Rao from Kannada Wikipedia to represent Kannada.
Good evening. My name is Swaroop, and I used to be an active editor at Kannada Wikipedia. So the growth of Kannada Wikipedia in particular hasn't been exponential as we have seen in other Indic wiki projects. It has been quite steady actually, and it even has been declining in recent times. But despite that, we recently crossed 10,000 articles, which is, considering the number of active editors, which is quite a good milestone. And yeah, again, because of the experience of Wikipedians, the depth of articles is good. But we still don't see new editors contributing to the Wikipedia. Again, the number of fairly active editors is around 10 to 12, which is quite good compared to other Indic languages. But there is no community interaction. I mean, you don't see people using the discussion forums or anything. people just keep to themselves. And coming to Wiktionary, actually Wiktionary has only 2 to 3 active editors. I mean, but they're really dedicated. We have around more than 135,000 entries. And it's supposedly the 19th largest Wiktionaries, counting all WMF projects. And it's, of course, one of the largest Wiktionaries among Indic Wiki project. And I really wish I could call any editor over here, but I don't think anyone is here. I mean, we have one editor who has more than 80,000 edits to Wiktionary. I mean, he's basically a one-man army. He's been contributing a hell lot of entries to Wiktionary. Again, there is a lot of content development as such, but there is no community interaction. Well, the community is composed of 2 members basically, so obviously you won't expect anything else. So, yeah, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you, Suru. So next let me call, I am calling Mr. Vishwaprabha from Malayalam to represent the Malayalam Wiki community.
Thank you, Shiju. Hello all, good evening. We have only 4 minutes. In the universe of knowledge, we are just a galaxy to be explained in 4 minutes. We don't know. We'll make it. We have stopped looking at the statistics pushing us, but they are chasing us. Statistics just follows us. We do quality work. That's what is our motto now. The number of articles is still not enough, but that is 21,085. Just recently we crossed. The rate of growth of the number of articles is going in an exponential way. Registered users, which is also an index of rather how many people read Wikipedia, not just edit or write, is more than 30,000. In fact, there is, I assume that this will be only 50% of the people who actually care to log in before they read the Wikipedia. Among them, the active users are 287. Very active users are consistently 24 with more than 100 edits per month. In fact, there are some months there are even more. And the total edits is now more than 1,235,000. The average edits per article, which is actually another measure of quality, is 30. We have very few single-line documents, articles. In fact, there is a project. Any single-line article is treated either very harshly or very softly. We make them to full-sized articles somehow. I would just go on, not with the statistics, but what are our other subjective problems. The strengths, weakness, and opportunities and threats. In the strengths, we have a language which is spoken by Keralites. That is already a community very well known all over the world for its very special high rates of socio-economic welfare indices. Like whether it comes to literacy, infant mortality rate, or family welfare, whatever, Kerala is a very special community within India. And the same thing we have seen also as a factor within Wikipedia. A vast number of diaspora. We have lots of people working out of Kerala, almost everywhere in the world and India. So they all have, many of them are well educated, and some of them have very good expertise in some particular subject matters, and they all support us. And that's one of our greatest strengths. Third is about the target community, Kerala. In Kerala, we have been having big, massive collaborative projects since independence. Some of them like the cooperative movements. We even had a cooperative literary writers society long back since 1950s. And then the library, village library schemes and anti-illiteracy campaigns. And they all, we are very used to collaborative, massive revolution. Political urge and the government. The government has a vision, although it's a little not enough. The people at the government level knows about, they have a vision about how every such project goes on. And the recent years, they have started promoting Wikipedia very seriously. In fact, in some of the domains that probably nowhere in the world they have even imagined. Like we are going to infuse Wikipedia into most of the school curriculum and universities in a very, very big way potentially creating almost 3 million articles per year. But the groundwork for that is in the pipelines. But we do have weaknesses. The perception about Wikipedia by the people as not a source of reliable knowledge. Every time when I talk to a villager or some people who knows just about the Wikipedia, they have a problem. They think that Wikipedia is editable and people do corrupt it and a lot of information is wrong. We say, the right shall persist and the evil shall perish. So eventually all of them will get more and more reliable, and we believe in ourselves, Wikipedia will be as reliable or even better than any pulp encyclopedia. The second one is the lack of consensus in Unicode standards. We have a very, very difficult language when it comes to the complex script scribing within the computers. Malayalam has particular problems, issues, and debates, and groups, and interest, and everything regarding some particular characters and characteristics of Malayalam. But it's a matter of time. We will all still form consensus, and we'll be walking over those hurdles. The lack of sufficient and reliable infrastructure. Like every place in India, we do not have an uninterrupted electrical supply or internet connectivity everywhere. In fact, many of the people have a problem in accessing Wikipedia. But again, it's a matter of time. We will go up in the social way, so everyone will have better connectivity and better resources. Underdeveloped algorithms. This is one of the problems actually faced by all complex script languages, all Indic languages. But in Malayalam, again, we have this big consciousness of alternate content search. For example, semantic search. And our script writers and others have already started thinking of that to find language-sensitive search algorithms. We will incorporate them, and probably others will also take lessons and lessons from Malayalam Wikipedia, I hope. Lack of proper copyright and copyleft affairs. This is another thing. People who start editing Wikipedia, many times they think that they can just copy-paste some content from somewhere else and put into this thing. And some people just take Wikipedia articles and without referring Wikipedia, they try to produce somewhere else. But this is also a matter of time. People are getting more and more aware of such issues. Our opportunities are tremendous. We are thinking of, we have just seen a galaxy at a long distance, and our cameras are just zooming in. Someday we know the real might of galaxy. So the growth of awareness among the common mass, the people on the road is getting more better in an exponential way. The governmental initiatives to infuse Wikipedia directly into schools is going to be our biggest opportunity. Maybe that will actually really break through Malayalam as a very, very important language portal in all the Wikipedia, among all the Wikipedia. Our press and media have started referring and quoting from Wikipedia in a big way, especially from Malayalam Wikipedia, and especially about Kerala-related articles. And this gives us a lot of motivation, because whatever we write, somebody else is going to quote, and it's going to be records. It's the reverse flow of citations and references. Increased awareness among mass media and school, college students. In fact, it is surprising that even a 5th standard student talk about Wikipedia, and they discuss about Wikipedia, and they start creating the Wikipedia, because most of our people, the bigger people, we do it out of satisfaction or rather kind of a personal ego or something. But those students, they are creating the Wikipedia, the real articles, by a kind of enthusiastic creation. But we do have threats, and we have to be very vigilant about them. The knowledge base of foregone era, just the last generation, which has been seeing tremendous transformations during last few years or decades, that generation is fading off, and the knowledge is also fading off. It is the critical threat that we all face, especially in Kerala. We need to acquire all of them and get into Wikipedia very soon, and this is time critical. The other one is vested interests. For example, any social or religious or political, any sectorial interest may come into the Wikipedia just to promote their ideas, but we do it with a very high neutral point of view, and harshly but still lovingly we accept them. They both act as accelerators and brakes. because there is always a counter group which comes as a brake and another kind of rivaling accelerator. So overall, we think that that's also an opportunity. The English is slowly taking over as a spoken language in Kerala, like many other places. This may be temporary or it may be permanent. But I think if Wikipedia is strong enough, we can cash back all those mass back into a real working, functional, local Malayalam. And the vandalism, like everywhere, vandalism may come like a wave or a tsunami sometimes, but we have a big army to fight against that. And the special achievements, we do have several special achievements. These are the 2 CDs we created. They are first in the world in several counts. One is selected articles from the Wikipedia, all on for offline use in normal, for the rather internet, not enabled users. The users not web enabled. And the other one is a Wikisource CD, which I think is a treasure for everyone who reads Malayalam, which contains almost all the articles in the Wikisource, which is already a rich content. And then our outreach statistics is tremendous because we were the first people to start Wiki academies or Wiki workshop among all the Indian Wikipedias. And now we have done more than 20. Almost every month we have a Wiki academy somewhere, sometimes in a very small village or sometimes in a cosmopolitan city. And the annual community week-ups with responsibility with all this thing has a large participation. Malayalam loves Wikimedia. When we start a project like that, we had 2,100 or more media files, photos and videos uploaded within very few days into the commons. The Narayam input tool is done by one of our promising young talent. And now Narayam has gone universal everywhere. As you may know, to the Wikipedias, that is one of the greatest tools right now, which makes our transliterations very easy. Then the school students have started digitizing. So some of the schools take up an old book and they do all the scanning, conversion, texting, everything, corrections. And then finally we have a good full swing Wikisource book, all done by very small, tiny little ones. And also we have been talking to government agencies and we have a very proactive interaction with them. And we have been able to take one complete department, the electricity board, to make all their data and programs, everything onto free license. So we are able to reproduce them in Wikipedia, and then Wikipedia acts as a sub-reference or secondary reference to their activities. The same thing goes for the State Encyclopedia Institute, which had already published a very large encyclopedia in Malayalam, and all that information is today available in Wikipedia as editable encyclopedia. We have future outlook, our potential contributors, but I will cut short now. I think I took much more time, but I'm sorry, but I'm also thankful. I appreciate everyone to listen to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishwaprabha. Next, we shall go to Marathi. I am inviting Mr. Mandar Kulkarni from Marathi Wikipedia to represent Marathi.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mandar Kulkarni. I am an editor of Marathi Wikipedia. So now by that time you must have been familiar with this particular page. This is the Mukha Prushtha, that is the main page of Marathi Wikipedia. And this is very interesting page where you will find a lot of links and all that. Just to introduce that, this is Marathi Wikipedia main page. Okay, this is a very important slide which has been taken from the Wikipedia where it